Great, cool. So first, I'd like for you to introduce the name of your film, your role inside of the film, and your name, please.
So my name is Sara Alessandrini. This is kind of like the American pronunciation of my name anyway. So I'm like the filmmaker and everything pretty much in this movie. My movie is like, this is what New Yorkers say. And so I've done pretty much every creative part in the movie except the color correction and the music. But everything else, the camera, the sound, the editing, everything was on me.
All right, cool, yeah. One woman show here. So for our audience who didn't get a chance to see the film yet, and I know I got the pleasure of speaking with you in our panel or this morning, and so I know a little bit already, but for everyone who doesn't, could you explain what your film is about and what you want people to get out of it?
So my documentary talks about when the governor of New York was forced to resign last year, 2021, after allegation of sexual harassment came. But it was like, it's just a way to start the conversation. So it talks about that, but it's actually to have a conversation about bigger topics that are important all around America. So it's like the Democratic Party, how they eat their own, the journalists, that they're not really doing investigation. They're just going for like social media feeds, tweet, whatever. And but especially to have an opportunity to have a real conversation about women empowerment, because I feel like as a woman, I talk to a lot of women in this country, and they just feel like we're going to a direction where like everybody feels like to be a victim, and but I don't think that's the right way to go. We need to empower women to feel powerful and to feel that they're in control of their lives. And so I want to really take an opportunity to actually have this kind of conversation in the movie.
Awesome. So I'm glad that we got into that subject because of the allegations and people not properly doing their research. I want to know, since it is such a sensitive topic, since it could be perceived in a way of not believing women, which is what the Me Too movement, which was mentioned inside of the film, was all about in the first place, is coming together and getting people to actually believe people who were making these allegations that were actually true. How did you handle that sensitivity of the fact that it could be counterintuitive to such an important movement, but also a story that needed to be told so that the truth could be out there, because there are people who misuse such a movement?
It's very interesting because, making this movie, I was like, oh my gosh, would people be able to understand what my intention was? That I had good intention, that I really want to help people. And from the first public screening I had, I was so surprised people really understood what this was all about. Very few times I hear people that are afraid of that I'm enabling bad behavior or something like that. I think most people understand it, and most people feel like we need to believe women, of course, but you also need to have proof. And if then there are also women, there are all kinds of men, all kinds of women. So some people there will be that will take advantage. But if someone take advantage of a movement, of something that is so important, then you will ruin it for all other people. And as a woman, I feel like when situation like this that happened to the governor, if you look at the allegation, what it is about, this could have been handled in a much better way, easier way, and without this need. So it just feels like people were taking advantage, especially Democrats, the journalists, they were taking advantage of this situation and of the pain of women too, for their own purposes. And that's what I like. And I feel like when things happen, we don't need to react right away, because sometimes you need to really think about what's going on to understand the dynamics of every story. So if you don't want to be, as we were talking this morning, if you don't want to be manipulated, you have to step back, think before you actually let your emotion go. So
absolutely. I think that's an amazing answer there, because I did expect you to have had some issues with people, possibly not thinking it all the way through or listening to the evidence that's being presented. but it seems like you've had a pretty understanding audience so far, which I think that's amazing, you know, because people do need to be held accountable for misusing such a powerful movement and kind of misusing um, something that's very traumatic for other women that constantly happens in a way just to benefit them or to hurt somebody that they want to hurt. My next question would be with this allegation, there's other such allegations. I know that you just did on the, particularly on the mayor, but is there anybody else that you're working with or future projects to kind of in the same subject range to kind of bring awareness to anything that you have run into thus far?
I mean, after this project, I'm gonna just retire.
Oh.
Absolutely. I just say like, no, like I was not even planning to do this project. Honestly, every time I'm so disappointed by the movie industry. I don't want to do project anymore. And then something happened, and I'm like, this happened, and I felt like there was a story that needed to be told. And I feel like, especially because who's the subject? It's like the white, wealthy man, politician. No one is gonna really care about fighting for that fight. But if we care about due process, we have to care for due process for everybody. You cannot just do selective democracy whenever it's convenient for you. So I just felt like someone had to say something, and no one seemed to be volunteering for this job. So I just decided to take this on my own, and I just decided to do this project. So I was not really planning to do a movie. This is like my first feature movie. I've done a lot of projects, but this is the first feature, and I self-produce it. So yeah, I'm not planning to do any other project right now, and yeah, I really like want to get the word out about this project. This is all I care and all I'm focusing on. But I want to add something to your previous question, actually, about like the question of like people understanding the thing. Like something that like it always drives me crazy. I'm not like an American, like I've been in this country for 7 years, but it just feels to me like the government here like infantilize its citizen. It just treats its citizen as like, okay, you're like too much of a kid to understand. We don't want to scare you. And to me, it's like I talk to people all the time. People are very understanding. If you talk to them, you give them the facts, you give them the whatever you need to say, they understand it. Like and I talk to all kinds of people, and so that's why after like showing this movie, yeah, of course, it's also a long movie, so I'm always wondering like, oh, is someone getting bored about this? So, but people have been very much understanding, so yeah.
Well, I think we can all agree that, you know, justice is a priority for a lot of people, and so if it's a situation in which